Welcome back to Reaction Tuesday. As you guys know, it's another reaction video for the reaction squad, or whoever just wants to watch my reaction videos, or just want to watch the video and see what is my opinion on it. Before we get to today's video, I need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep my energy might be a little low today. Tired as hell, but we get to today's video. Now today's video is by Jeff NIPPARD. It says, "Is RPE actually killing your games?" Response to Athlete X. So let's see it.
Alright, what's going on, guys?
Chill. Start this record. I'm gonna start the screen record every now and then. I'm not gonna watch the full video because response to Athlete X and critics. Okay, but yeah, I'm not gonna watch the whole video. I'm just gonna watch a snippet. See what's a bit, but
alright, what's going on, guys? So in this video, I want to share some of my recent thoughts about RPE and address 5 of the most common criticisms I've been hearing lately, starting with a recent video from Jeff Cavalier of Athlete X, where he labels RPE as a, quote, really poor excuse. Now, let me just start by saying that I do think most of us creators here on YouTube actually have the same end goal. We just want to help people get the best results we can. And it's perfectly fine with me if we disagree about some of this stuff. In fact, I think people learn these concepts better when they're part of an ongoing discussion. So rather than just lay out the reasons why I like RPE, in this video, I'm going to instead focus on addressing some of the counterclaims that I've been hearing recently, starting with Jeff's video. Now, to be clear, only the first 2 criticisms on my list come from Jeff's video, and then we'll use those as a springboard.
Whoa. Okay, wait. It says, not for beginners. Hiding behind science. Why the hell is this for devices? What the fuck? RP is for, I think it's boo boo. RP isn't accurate. I think when RP is for boo boo boo. I think that's what grade 2 says it.
There's 3 other common arguments that I've been hearing lately. But first, just to illustrate what RPE means, here are the last few reps on a set of curls taken to an RPE of 8 on the left, meaning I think I could have done 2 more reps, but terminated the set with 2 reps in the tank. And this is what an RPE of 10 looks like on the right, meaning I couldn't have done another rep with good form, even with a gun to my head. And the purpose of RPE is simply that, to quantify how hard...
Don't say that. I'm pretty sure if you had a gun to your head, your adrenaline would be up. You probably would have done 30.
your set was. And just like it's useful to know how many sets to do and how many reps to do, I think it's equally useful to know how hard to push each set. And just as hard as possible, or harder than last time, isn't good enough in my opinion.
That is good said. Harder than last time might not be good enough. Who knows? Maybe he's on something, maybe he's not. I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep listening. I'm gonna keep watching him. Keep down to what he's saying. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get an idea.
Instead, I think RPE, or rating of perceived exertion, is the best practical tool we have for tracking effort. And remember, the act of tracking how hard your set was is really no different than the act of tracking how many sets you did, or how many reps you did. Just because you count your reps doesn't mean you do high reps or low reps, and it's the same thing with RPE. Counting RPE doesn't imply you train any less hard, it just means you're counting how hard you're training, just like everyone else is counting their sets and reps. Okay, so the first criticism of RPE is that it's fine for intermediate and advanced trainees, but isn't...
Pause. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm looking at. Let's see if my brain can like ball up the right words for you guys. So instead of you saying RPE is where you should be stopping, pointing, have an idea, he's like, this should be a tool of measurement to see where your body is actually going, how it's progressing, how it's doing it, right? So you get able to have an idea of where your strength is based off of that weight and the amount of reps you can do, like we do with sets, right? Can we do more sets as far as our conditioning, our strength, our stamina, right? Can we do more, right? Like say with reps. If the last week we did, if our RPE, we have our RPE of 8, and this we have our RPE an RPE of 10. We're obviously doing better this week than we did previous week, right? Our strength is increasing.
All that good for beginners. And I think this was the main point of the Athlete X video. And I completely agree with Jeff that it's a good tool for intermediate to advanced trainees, and in fact it's pretty much ubiquitous in the drug-tested powerlifting world at this point, so its utility there is totally clear and uncontroversial. But whether or not it's any good for beginners, I think is more up for debate. Now, the Athlete X argument would be that since beginners are inexperienced with training, they might not really know what an RPE 9 feels like or an RPE 8 feels like, and so you risk this scenario where they say they're at an RPE of 8 or 9, but they're actually at an RPE of 3 or 4. And I actually think this concern is understandable. In fact, one 2017 study found that when subjects were at beginners, it simply shows that most regular gym goers don't push it hard enough on their own. But the solution here isn't to say, well, forget about RPE because beginners can't assess it accurately. Instead, I think beginners just need to learn what an RPE 10 feels like, and then from there, learn what it feels like to leave 1 rep in the tank, and then learn what it feels like to leave 2 reps in the tank. Because it's not like you're just going to wake up someday and all of a sudden you're an intermediate lifter, and now all of a sudden you can track RPE.
Hey, Paul, this what I'm gonna say. Any beginning lifter in general, see if they saying them if you're normal beginners don't push themselves hard enough off rip when you're coming in off rip. Damn, I'm tired. I'm just saying off rip. If you're a beginning client or beginning lifter, I'm not gonna teach you nothing about the RP. I don't need you to learn how it feels to have this and that. I need you to learn how to just push yourself and to put in the proper amount of effort to get you from point A to point B. It makes no sense for me to sit here teaching you, oh, how does this feel when it comes to this? How it feels? You need to just know how it feels to push yourself first. Do the movement better first. Do this best first. Do this. Do the fundamentals first. Forget about the RPEs. Do that later after you learn how to just work. Because this makes no sense. This does you no good if you don't even know how to work. Because your body doesn't even have, because at this point you don't have the self-discipline to even push past an RPE of 8, 9, 10. Who cares? Unless you learn how to push yourself, unless you learn how to get yourself from point A to point B, unless you push yourself past the point of just wanting to stop. Because a lot of times people get to the point where like, I'm tired, it burns, gone. When people can clearly do more, but they decide to do less. People like things easy, totally understandable. Push yourself to just do better, bro. I mean, you don't need no RP, nada. Just push yourself. Now, as of course, if you get older and more advanced, because it's a lot harder to build muscle, a lot harder to get strength up, have a more detailed assessment of where your body is going, have it written down, have it noted somewhere, important. When you start off, sure, you want to start off really detailed off, great, do so. But yeah, he said, hey, this is what I'm telling you. Learn how to just physically push your body, right? Keep track of how many reps you did that set with that weight. Keep track of it and keep going forth. Then if you want to learn as RPE, wherever it is, do that. But I guess from coach, as you said, everyone has different opinions on how to coach. This is just my opinion.
If you want to get better at using RPE, then you just have to reflect on your set and think about, okay, how hard was that set really? And I see no reason why a beginner shouldn't do that. In fact, I actually asked Dr. Mike Isertel this exact same question a few months ago, and he said that even if it is true that beginners can't gauge RPE as accurately, it's still not a concern because the intensity threshold for beginners is so much lower to begin with.
I don't think that's an issue at all. Who is it an issue for? Beginners. What do beginners not need to progress? Training remotely close to failure. They just don't need it. As a matter of fact, beginners need to focus on excellent technical execution and just getting incrementally stronger over time. And that's done best without training super close to failure. Only when your technique is really solid do you sort of earn the right or get the most productivity from training closer and closer to failure.
So if you're
Why is his face like that? Are you accepting? No, bro. I love you, bro. Love you, bro. Love you,
next
bro.
time you're doing an exercise that you can fail safely on, let's say an incline dumbbell press, once you get to a point where you think you could do 2 more reps, call it out. Say out loud, okay, I'm at an RPE 8 now, and then actually push it to failure to see if you rated it correctly. Okay, I think that's RPE 8. Let's go. If you could only get 2 reps, that means you're dead on with your RPE. But if you got 3 or 4 more reps, that means you're probably overestimating your RPE and you need to push it harder next time. Now, at this point, some people might be thinking, okay, beginners can use it, but is it really necessary for beginners? Isn't this just overloading them with too much information? And I'm going to get to that criticism in number 5.
I do think that's too much information for starting off. Still much, right? You want to have an idea, have an idea, and it's too much to know. Just learn how to push body. Have an idea. Of course, you don't want to push to failure, but yes, that's a cool little key. Call it out loud. Try it out. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. If you overdo it, you overdo it. You underdo it, you underdo it. It is what it is. I ain't mad at you. To be honest, they do you. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm not going to teach y'all too much, but I'm going to try to skip through this. This is kind of long.
Okay, up next in the same video, Jeff noted that some people are hiding behind science, and I think what he means by this is that some people are using science as an excuse to be lazy. Some people are so busy trying to fine-tune all the little details that they forget about the basic idea of just pushing yourself. And if this is what he means by this, then I completely agree. But in my opinion, the answer here is to, again, simply remind people that there is an intensity threshold for maximizing muscle growth, and it's probably somewhere around an RPE of 7, maybe 8, depending on the exercise and your training experience. And if you're not pushing it hard enough, then you need to go harder. But this doesn't mean we should blame
True. Just saying it's true.
the science. Science isn't telling you to go any less hard. In fact, if you look at the literature as a whole, science is telling us that many of us probably aren't going hard enough. Remember that study from earlier.
Majority.
In fact, I would argue that once people actually start paying attention to their RPE, their effort tends to increase, not decrease. And that's because it's quantitatively reminding you that you actually need to be pretty close to failure. And you've probably been stopping shy of where you should be more often than not. Now, let me remind you here that going to failure hasn't been shown to be better for muscle growth in the research as a whole anyway. For the most
Which I said in my last video, if you guys haven't seen it, makes it harder, not typically easier, but whatever.
part, studies find mixed results. Some studies find failure to be a bit better for growth, and some find it to be a bit worse for growth. So going all out, all the way to failure, clearly isn't the key, and likely is counterproductive in many instances. Now, this isn't to say it doesn't have any place in training. I think it does. It just isn't the be-all, end-all that some of the anti-RPE folks can imply that it is. And that brings me to criticism number 3, and again...
Yeah, I'm going to stop it in a minute. But yeah. Here's my thing, right? I'm very big... Now, with that one is kind of more... I'm within the ballpark. He understands a lot, right? He's very big on understanding both parties, both criticisms. And I don't think he's disagreeing with it. I think he just kind of... just detailing why he agrees with RP even more. But then it doesn't make anyone wrong, doesn't make anyone right. Everyone has their own reasoning. Because technically, yes, if what he said, Athlenex says, it just typically makes people feel like they need to be lazier. He's right. Some people may think that way. Maybe people may perceive it that way. That's what it is. Then there's some people who feel like if they pay attention to it more, they might actually work harder. Everyone is different. Not everyone's going to react to certain things the exact same way. So as far as I'm seeing this, no one's really wrong. No one's really right. But here's my opinion, right? When it comes down to it, I would only utilize RPE if I was strictly trying to build my strength up, build up, like, say, some muscle groups, depending on what the muscle group is, my weaker muscle group, stronger muscle group. I'll use it for more of a detailed assessment, not for, like, everything, right? That's also depending on what kind of lifter you are. What are you trying to do? What is your goal? Everyone's different. No one is built the same. No one's mentally the same goal in my mindset at the current same time. Yeah, do what's best for you. Yeah, if you need to use RPE, but I'm not. I have no problem putting muscle so far. But everyone's different. But without further ado, like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys 100%. Remember, get this channel to 1,000 subscribers so I can reveal my transmission video during quarantine. But yeah, love you guys. And as always, guys, remember, today's not the past and it's not the future. It's the present. Because it's a gift. Now live it to the fullest.